Welcome to Care Conversations with Clarity Financial Solutions, where through education, we move you from confusion to clarity on all topics touching retirement. Join us as we learn and grow from others' experience on entering into the next phase of life with peace of mind and conviction that you have a team of experts to help you, educate you, and let you know your unique retirement is upon you. So it's time to take a deep inhale, a slow exhale, and walk into this next phase of life confident and with clarity. Welcome. Hello. Hey, it's Amanda Stilwell with Clarity Financial Solutions coming on this episode to talk to you about long-term care. And I've got my sidekick with me, Shantel Haines, who once again runs our Georgia office. And this week, we are going to really dive into a topic that I consider it a crisis because I see it affect, but long-term care.
Not fun.
I'm sorry.
It's not fun. But we are going to make it fun, though. And not only make it fun, but just try to, make it a little more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And just understanding not only what it is, there's a lot of misconceptions about long-term care because I even know when I, have had conversations with my parents or just clients, that's not where I want to be. That's just not where they want to be, So
I
just
feel like
understanding really what long-term care is.
Yeah, I feel like the minute you hear long-term care, people's brains immediately goes to a nursing home, someone in a bed, unable to do anything for themselves.
Yes.
And that's just not
No.
what it is.
No.
So we're going to clear the air on the facts of it, and really talk through the emotional part.
Yeah,
we have
it's a big part.
As we specialize in the distribution phase of life, so really 58 and up. And because we live in that space, we feel it almost like malpractice not to bring up how to make sure that long-term care doesn't erode, and just annihilate your retirement plan.
Yes, it can drastically, if one of your, one person has a long-term care event, it could drastically change the trajectory of that other spouse's future.
That's right. And maybe it's not a monetary solution. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
It's just having the conversation and the plan to ensure that, if this happens, I have peace of mind that I've checked that box.
Yes.
So let's get started. Once again, we did a little PowerPoint because it keeps us on track because we're all over the place. We're in the place. Yeah. We have a lot of client stories and we really want to make sure that we emote that to you. But let's open up the PowerPoint and get started. Okay. And once again, like we said, we know this is not a fun topic. So, we get that, right? But we also think it's not something that you can avoid because it's really important to just talk through.
Well, and also after you listen to this today, maybe you have a completely different perspective of what long-term care is. So
hopefully that is the case. Yeah. But like I've said in the previous episodes, send us questions, engage with us, our website, things you want to know more about. Maybe it's a specific situation that you're in with your family.
Mm-hmm.
We desire, like I've always said, to build a community of curious consumers who want to know why and how to solve these problems and have a really good understanding. So today we're going to really talk about understanding the problem because it is one. We're going to define long-term care.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the solutions that are available, and then we're going to give you some examples. Okay. So let's get started. This is a little quiz, and so put on your thinking caps. So what % of Americans over 65 will need long-term care, some type of it, in their lifetime? Okay. Question mark.
Yeah. So what percentage do we think that is? And then also, what is the percentage of Americans who think that it's likely that they will need long-term care at some point in time in their life?
Mm-hmm. So we have the % that will need it, statistically, the % who think they will need it, and then how many people actually have it.
Yes.
So let's just dive into these facts, right? So we can see the disconnect. So 70% of people 65 are very high. And that doesn't mean you're in a nursing home. It just means you need assistance with activities of daily living at some point in retirement. But 70% is not a small number.
No.
And so that's why we have to include it in the conversation. So look around your dinner table next Christmas. If you have 10 people, 7 of those people statistically might need some type of help in order to have a high quality of life in retirement.
So the percentage of Americans who actually are concerned about it, they think about it, they think it's very likely that they will need long-term care at some point in time, it's 8%. So that's a huge gap.
That's a large variance.
Yeah.
So the reality is 70, the people that are actually the ones that are going to receive the care, only 8% of those people. And who wants to think that you need that?
No. Yeah, nobody wants to think that. And we hope you don't. We hope our clients don't need it,
Exactly. But if you do, there's a plan, right? Yes. And then the last question, right? % of Americans who have long-term care insurance to transfer the risk of needing that care.
Only 3%.
Right? So
very, very small.
And guess what? So here's just a little economic lesson. Math, what we're really good at around here. If 70% need it and will have it, and only 3% have prepared for it, who do you think is going to end up paying for that care?
Yes. And that's huge. And that's exactly why Amanda and I are so passionate about this, because we are in a long-term care crisis.
Yes.
That's it. That's the crisis right there.
Every time I'm in a new town or I'm driving to Georgia to see Shantel, go through several little towns, right? And metropolitan areas. And I, on the regular, see a brand new assisted living, a brand new nursing facility.
Yes.
Because of the amount of people needing this type of care. But if you have assets, who's going to pay for that is going to be you. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be through a Medicaid spend down or just going through all of your assets and then leaving your family possibly in a detrimental situation. And we're going to talk through that. But if it's not that, then it's you and me as taxpayers, guys. Medicaid is the #1 payer of long-term care. So that's what is Medicaid. That's you and me paying for the solution.
Yeah, and just knowing that, it's like I also have a new appreciation for Medicaid. Mm-hmm. Like realizing that that's who is funding that and paying for that. We now have a new appreciation.
And it's only going to, as the baby boomers continue what we call the silver tsunami around here, as it continues to grow, that is going to be drastically larger. So taxes will have to pay for that, right? So that's just something to consider. So let's jump back into the PowerPoint and go through some new things. So, well, if I could get it to work. I think I can. There we go.
You got it.
All right. So the next slide is why are people not wanting to plan? So if 8% think they're going to need it, only 3% do. Let's talk through some of the reasons why people aren't planning.
Yeah. So just starting with the first one, it just seems so far-fetched. So for example,
let's plan for later.
Yeah. So let's say I'm just, 55, 65, I'm healthy, I'm thriving, we're healthier, we're living longer. So that just seems, I'm not there yet. So that's one. And, a false sense of security. Maybe we've got some misconceptions. If I have this will pay for it. That'll pay for it. So not only that's originally, kind of why we start with understanding, Medicare, what options you have leads all the way down into this. So, or just some people don't want to think about it. I mean, these are not fun things. They put their head in the sand. They don't want to have these conversations.
As if I don't think about it, it won't happen.
Yeah. Or I've had some clients tell me, well, that's not going to happen to me. If I need that, just take me out back.
That's that. So I've heard people say, I'm going to fit myself with some concrete boots and jump in the left.
Like, okay, well, we don't want that, but also it may not be kind of that misconception that we have. So there's still a big disconnect.
Yeah. I will tell you, we have some estate planning attorneys that reached out to us years ago, and they would not even do a trust until the clients had long-term care in place, because they saw so many people who did a trust, but then you had a long-term care event and there was nothing to fund the trust because of the event. So now they really encourage people, if they can qualify, to to get something like that in place. So let's keep talking through. A lot of people have the misunderstanding of Medicare or Medicaid is going to pay for it.
That's a big misconception.
That's right. They don't expect to need it. So they're one of the, not 8% that think they will. They think, oh, well, listen, I raised my kids. It's their turn to care for me.
Yep. They'll take care of me.
I don't know about that, guys. And we're going to talk through that too. It's too expensive, and it is.
Correct.
So, but having no plan, we never want to encourage someone to have 100% coverage for a long-term care, but to be able to know that there is an earmarked account, tax-free dollars to help pay for it.
Right. Well, and when you're electing into long-term care coverage, these are not the same options today that maybe your parents had. So, so just understanding, we'll get through what those options are, but there's a lot, and it fits for everybody, and it's all situations. There is a solution.
That's right. I'll just pay for it out of pocket. I hear that from wealthy clients who are in that kind of, I don't know, let's say $1 to $5 million. They're like, oh, I've got plenty of money. I'll pay for it.
Yeah. Or assuming, what if I don't need it? Why do I want to pay for something that I may not need? And if I do need it, I'm just going to stroke a check. Okay. That's all great and well, but you can still transfer that risk. Just because we can pay for it doesn't mean you necessarily should.
That's exactly right. And then questions about whether it's really needed. So we're going to talk through all of that today. So we have this huge disconnect, right? So 8% expects, 70% is the reality. And what are we going to do about this? I mean, it really is a problem.
Yes, there's a huge gap in there. And honestly, one of our biggest missions and passions is to help fill that gap is just by education. Mm-hmm. So we hope, 1% at a time, educating people about their options out there, making a solution that best fits, their family, their situational needs that we can help hopefully close that gap.
That's exactly right. So let's dive into it. What is it?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is just understanding what long-term care is. So again, it's kind of like extended care. I don't really like the word long-term care. Extended care feels like, a better fit. So, but it's not just, it's emotional and financial risks that not only hits you and maybe your spouse, but, your extended family as well. And especially your children. I know, heaven forbid, if something happens to my parents, my brother and I, we're two kids, a boy and a girl, his responsibilities and his mindset and focus are completely different than mine. So even just, sitting around the table and educating, hey, if this were to happen, what does that look like for us? Because I know that my brother would naturally not want to put a bigger load on me in a way that he maybe just doesn't even realize because we've never dealt with anything. Now, we do have, some families who are a little more passionate about it because they know what that feels like. They've had to make altercations in their plans because of a long-term care event. So again, just to kind of hit, it's an emotional. So your family strives about the responsibilities to care and your arrangement. So there's nothing that, you're going to want to do you're going to do anything and everything. We're going to move mountains. But also, I'm so sorry, I don't have my glasses. But just the anguish about choosing it and the cost, I would rather have that discussion with my parents. So I feel more like I'm fulfilling their needs instead of maybe making a decision. Yeah, I mean, they're the one want to do.
And a lot of people think they want to care for, but they can't physically. It's outside of their scope, right?
Yeah. What if your parent needs care, or what if you need care and you're just I'm not a nurse.
That's right.
There's some things that I can't do to insurance. I'm good at the things, but if I've had these conversations and I know and I can fulfill my parents' wishes, I can manage the care. We're not losing that, but I can, manage it and ensure things are getting done.
And then financial, guys. I mean, the deal is there are so many people, so many women, especially in the highest wage earning years of their life, that have to stop working and go help their families. And that just affects their retirement, right? So definitely something that we don't want to see, but we do see.
Because it just happens. Yeah. Just in having the conversation is huge.
Clarity Financial Solutions is a holistic financial planning firm laser focused on the distribution side of financial services. Most of your working life, most likely, you've put your head down, gone to work every day, and saved for your retirement. Now you're reaching the time when you're going to be drawing off of those funds. And believe me, we know saving money and spending money evokes very different emotions. At Clarity Financial Solutions, our team has experience in Medicare planning, Social Security maximization, long-term care planning, tax-efficient Roth conversions, required minimum distribution strategies, retirement cash flow planning, legacy, and charitable giving. These topics stitch together, creating a beautiful tapestry that becomes your unique retirement. Allow us an opportunity to learn about your situation and offer you solutions which will bring clarity to topics touching retirement.
All right. And obviously when you have the two elderly people attempting to provide care for one another, it can be really heartbreaking. So the question, have you ever seen an 85-year-old woman taking care of an 87-year-old man? And I actually have in my own very family. So it's very stressful, I guess we'll say. Okay. So a lot of people say this.
Yes.
Whatever happens, I just don't want to be in a nursing home.
No, majority of our clients want to stay home.
Yeah.
We want that best quality of life out.
And we usually tell people, long-term care is an event that happens that you need in the setting you choose, which would be your home, an independent living, an assisted living, or a continuing care retirement community. So it's not about an elderly person sitting in a nursing home. It's a range of services designed to help people with health and personal care needs to have the absolute highest quality of life they possibly can.
Correct.
So exactly what is long-term care?
All right. So if you cannot do two of the activities of daily living, which they're listed right here, bathing, dressing, eating, transferring, toileting, and incontinence. If you cannot do two of those activities of daily living by yourself, self-sustaining, you can trigger a benefit.
Sorry. And that's done by the medical board. So it's not like this insurance company says this and this insurance company says this. No, it's two of those. And the ADLs are just what they are, activities of daily living.
So these are some of the long-term care settings. So like Amanda had already mentioned, at-home care, community-based care, independent living, assisted living, nursing home. Also the type of care you need may kind of, determine, what you choose, but these are all the options.
Yeah. And so it's important to know it's the setting you receive the care is your choice.
Yeah.
And like we said earlier, most of our clients do want to stay home as long as possible.
Mm-hmm. So our options for at-home care. So obviously we have family and friends as support, and that's usually, sometimes what people prefer. But maybe it may feel a little different if I, let's say my daughter can take care of me and what the needs that I have, but maybe I can compensate her, so those are just things but home health aides are your option, visiting doctors and nurses, support services, like meal deliveries, medical equipment, and case managers. So it just depends on what your case brings.
And then we have community-based care. So, adult daycare is becoming, we don't have enough of them really, I don't think, in the States, but they're a great solution for families that are caring for their loved ones. Social support, health services like home health care, things like that. And then respite care for in-home caregivers. It's important to be able to take some time when you are caregiving full-time for yourself.
Oh, gosh. Yes, it puts so much pressure, even if you can do all the things. It's just the everything that comes along with it. The emotional.
For sure.
The emotional.
For sure. Independent living. So these are communities where some of them are called continuing care retirement communities. So they have all layers of care in one community. But you also have independent living plus like meals and things like that, limited help with personal care and independent living. But you also get some help with medication management and things of that nature.
Yeah, so really provides so much support for your family that even if you don't need all the things, like it's yes. And some of these places, these people are thriving. They're doing fun things. There's so much activities. It's not a negative place to be. They're very, very amazing, the things that they're doing. Assisted living. So this is a little more in-depth care that's available when you're living independently. Residential, obviously, the comfort of your own home, and social opportunities along with assistance of the daily living. So just an extra little layer.
That's right. So, but it's side by side care. So it's not hands-on care necessarily, but you're getting some type of a side by side care. And then the question, why won't Medicare or Medicaid pay for those serious needs? Well, we have an issue, right? Counting on that is not a plan. Mm-hmm. Most people want to rely on for long-term care, and many aren't even eligible anyway. So we talked last couple episodes about Medicare and when it stops covering. So Medicare is not going to cover long-term care, guys. And Medicaid only covers it for what? Low-income people. So there are a lot of misconceptions about paying for costs. Medicare only pays for long-term care after hospitalization. Remember, 3 days inside of a hospital admitted status, right? And there's no custodial care, and then no independent or assisted living support. It's only for rehabilitation. So you're getting better.
And it's not a holding tank. You've got to be rehabilitated.
Can get exactly right. Medicaid covers long-term care for eligible low-income adults. However,
yes, your assets, so you have to use up those assets and have very limited income. So, and there's also a look back, so there's a lot that goes along with that.
There really is. And people just assume, well, I mean, the state will take care of me if that happens. Yeah. It's just not the case. A lot of people can be disqualified due to the look back period. So they try to move money out of their name. And unfortunately, that doesn't work, guys. So it's not a plan.
Yeah. Or, sometimes we've had, I'm going to transfer all this in, my child's name and all that. And, there's just, you want to understand how all that works,
for sure. And then no room in the inn. This is a sad one.
So, I had a acquaintance, her and I were kind of talking about her mom's situation. We knew there wasn't any assets. They actually, depleted assets going through her dad. Her dad had passed away. So now her mom was being ill. The only asset was a home. So she knew what was going to happen to that home after. She was very informed about her situation, but the reality is a Medicaid bed came available and it was 4 hours away. So just understanding, yes, even if we are there and that's the place that we're at, let's kind of talk about, what that could look like. So it's not always fun.
No, definitely not. That's very sad. So additional risks of assuming Medicare or Medicaid would pay is obviously the strained health care system due to aging boomers. There are just so many of them, right? So 70%. And, there's not enough.
There's not enough to go around.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And then the other risk is paying, out of pocket yourself. So guys, it's expensive. And we're going to talk next time about that. And we're going to really go through costs, ways to pay for it, how asset-based long-term care planning can really be a great solution. But we are looking forward to kind of diving into ways to make sure that you don't end up trapped.
Yeah. No, and also there are even living benefits on life insurance now that you can help. So it does not matter what your situation is. So all walks of life, all different situations, there's a solution out there that can protect. It doesn't matter what the situation is. So we have seen many different types of them. But just understanding and education and having that conversation is just so important. And then, sharing those stories with us, what is the reason maybe I don't want to look through this? Well, maybe my mom had a policy. She had a long-term care event and then that didn't pay. I don't want to be in her situation. So
Who does?
no, that's awful,
Mhm.
awful. So yeah, it's many different ways. So
But it really, the way we look at long-term care is it's almost like a life preserver around the rest of your assets. And we're talking about asset-based, meaning if you don't lose it, if you don't use it,
yeah,
then it's an asset. If you do use it, it protects the rest of your assets. But it's not a fun conversation for sure, but the clients that come to us and then the solution is provided, they're just in such a better place.
well, and this kind of stems back from your experience where you sat around the table kind of like after the fire and preventing the fire
That's exactly.
is, really where we're at in the education. So,
Yeah, and we're passionate about it. And there are lots of different ways to crack the long-term care code, but definitely burying your head in the sand is not one of them. So engage with us, reach out, let us know how, if you have specific questions. Maybe it's a situation that you've lived through or your family and you don't want it to happen to you or anyone you love. We want to help educate and build, like we always say, this community of curious consumers that want to understand the building blocks of retirement planning. So long-term care is one of them.
yes.
All right. See you next time. Join our Clarity Financial Solutions family, where through education and others' experience, we empower you to make retirement choices with confidence. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook, or head on over to our website and sign up for our newsletter. If you'd like to further engage with us, please don't hesitate. Just reach out, 864-987-8729. See you next time on Care Conversations with Clarity.